My name is Emily, and this is the story of how I lost everything I held dear as a child, and how, through quiet determination, I found my way back to it. I grew up in a cozy ranch-style house in a quiet suburb of Charlotte, North Carolina. It was the kind of place where the backyard felt endless, big enough for barbecues, swing sets, and summer nights chasing fireflies. My parents had bought it shortly after they got married, pouring every extra dollar into making it our forever home. The kitchen had that old oak table where we'd gather for family dinners, and my bedroom window overlooked the magnolia tree my dad planted the day I was born. But when I was 12, everything changed. My dad passed away suddenly from a heart attack. He was only 45. In the months that followed, grief hung over our house like a heavy fog. My mom tried to keep things together, working double shifts as a nurse, but the medical bills and funeral costs piled up fast. We were drowning. That's when my Uncle Mark, my dad's older brother, stepped in. He and my Aunt Lisa had always been close to our family, coming over for holidays and helping out here and there. Uncle Mark said he wanted to protect the house for us. He convinced my mom that the best way to avoid foreclosure was to transfer the deed to him temporarily. He'd pay off the remaining mortgage with some inheritance money he'd just received from our grandparents, and then, once things stabilized, he'd sign it back over to us. My mom, exhausted and trusting her late husband's brother, agreed. It felt like a lifeline. For a couple of years, things seemed okay. We still lived in the house. Uncle Mark said it was ours to stay in as long as we needed. But slowly, changes crept in. They started spending more time there, helping with repairs. Then one day, when I was 15, they sat us down and delivered the news that shattered me. The house was now officially theirs. Uncle Mark claimed the temporary arrangement had turned permanent because my mom couldn't afford the upkeep or taxes on her own. He said it was better this way. They'd raise their own kids there, keep it in the family bloodline. My mom tried to fight it at first, but the legal papers she'd signed years earlier gave him the upper hand. We had no money for lawyers. We were given 30 days to pack up and leave. I remember standing in my empty bedroom, staring at that magnolia tree through the window, tears streaming down my face. It wasn't just a house, it was every memory of my dad, of him teaching me to ride a bike in the driveway, of birthday parties on the porch. Losing it felt like losing him all over again. My mom and I moved into a small apartment across town. Life was hard. She worked herself to the bone, and I took part-time jobs after school to help with bills. The betrayal stung deeply. Uncle Mark and Aunt Lisa had always seemed like family, but in the end, they chose their own comfort over ours. Holidays became awkward. We'd get invited over to our old house, watching their kids play in the yard that used to be mine. It hurt, but my mom taught me something invaluable during those years. Patience. She'd say in her soft voice, holding my hand across our tiny kitchen table, "Anger won't bring back what's gone, but hard work and kindness will build something new. One day, things will come full circle. Just keep going." I held on to those words. I graduated high school at the top of my class and earned scholarships to a state university. I studied business, focusing on real estate, because deep down, I never stopped dreaming about that house. After college, I started small, flipping properties in up-and-coming neighborhoods around Raleigh. I worked long hours, saved every penny, and learned from every mistake. There were setbacks, bad investments, market dips, nights when doubt crept in, but I remembered my mom's advice. Patience, one step at a time. Years passed. I built a successful career, starting my own small real estate firm. I got married to a wonderful man named Alex, who supported my quiet ambition. We had 2 kids of our own, and life felt full in ways I never expected after those dark teenage years. Then, one ordinary Tuesday in my mid-30s, I got an email alert I'd set up long ago, a listing notification for properties in my old neighborhood. There it was, the house. My house, on the market. I drove over that same day, heart pounding. The magnolia tree was taller now, blooming beautifully, but the place looked worn, peeling paint, overgrown yard. Uncle Mark and Aunt Lisa had fallen on hard times. Bad investments, job losses, and some poor financial choices had caught up with them. They needed to sell quickly to downsize. I didn't gloat. I didn't reach out. I simply made a fair offer through a realtor, higher than the others because I could afford it. When the papers were signed and the keys handed over, I stood in the driveway alone, feeling a wave of emotions wash over me. Not triumph exactly, but peace, closure. We renovated slowly, restoring the oak floors, updating the kitchen while keeping the original charm. My family moved in last spring. My kids play in that same backyard now, and every time I look out at the magnolia tree, I think of my dad and my mom, who passed a few years ago, proud of the woman I'd become. I heard through distant relatives that Uncle Mark and Aunt Lisa struggled with the sale at first, realizing only later who the buyer was. But life has a way of balancing things. Their choices years ago led them here, just as my patience and perseverance led me back. This experience taught me something profound. Betrayal can wound deeply, especially from those closest to you. It can make you question trust and family bonds, but holding on to resentment only weighs you down. Instead, channel that pain into growth. Be patient with yourself and the process. Work steadily towards your goals, even when the path feels long and lonely. Success built on integrity isn't about revenge. It's about rising above. And sometimes karma isn't dramatic or loud. It's quiet. It's you, years later, standing in the home that was always meant to be yours, surrounded by love you've created. It shows that what was taken unjustly can come back when you're ready, not out of spite, but because you've earned it. If you're facing betrayal or loss right now, know this: your story isn't over. Keep going with grace and determination. The best chapters might still be ahead. Thank you for listening. If my story touched you, please share your own in the comments.